this is HYPER Annotations 3.0, the new center's public program at the Venice Biennale. And thank you so much, Jens and Werner and Herbert Lippok, for accepting this invitation. So I have a question for you to begin with. First, how did you receive the general theme of the Venice Biennale, Foreigners Everywhere, when you first heard about it?
It's for me. I have mixed emotions about it because it sounds almost like offensive if you would translate this in German, like Ausländer überall. It sounds pretty aggressive. So yeah. I'm not sure how I feel about it.
Yeah.
Okay. And regarding the particular theme of the German pavilion, thresholds and everything, how do you feel that is the relationship first between the overall theme of the Biennale with Foreigners Everywhere related to thresholds, but also with the work that you two are exhibiting here in Certosa Island?
I think for me there's a strong relation because there are many thresholds in cultures. So, for example, in Berlin, when do you enter like a new culture, like the culture of the Arab people in Neukölln? How do you feel? Are you open to this community, or are you not open? Where's the threshold to enter the community and to say hi? How are you doing? What is this all about? And make friends and understand the culture.
Yeah, what we were facing here, it's quite interesting because the works we present on the island are not very loud or very intrusive, actually. Mm-hmm. But some people find them offensive because they changed something about an environment that they claim to have fully understood. Mm-hmm. So one of the arguments is like, you bring sound to this island, and this is a silent island, and this doesn't belong here. We say this island is far from being silent. There's a constant bass drone here, there's engines and motors and church bells and people coming, and sometimes you hear the stadium. We had one Sunday where the sounds around the island were louder than anything you could hear on the island. But still it's about this, what is strange, what is new, what belongs, what is known to you, and people define these situations. And there's one really interesting argument about what is nature.
Yes,
that this is artificial, and then there is nature. And this opposition, I think, is essential to understanding what's happening on Certosa, because this concept or provocation of foreigners and foreigners everywhere, and that's like a paradoxon, because if we're all foreigners, there are no foreigners, but still there's the concept of foreigners, so we have to think about that. I think on the island you really think about what does nature mean, and something. Foreigners is one thing we apply to humans, but something that is foreign to us, that we do not fully comprehend, relate that to nature, relate it to history or future concepts of like culture. I think this is really something you can explore here on Certosa, because I feel nature is really something that includes constantly. Nature is a concept of inclusion. It's eating, it's intrusion, it is taking over, it's communicating. The birds talk to our works, the frogs talk along, the rabbits run like they live just next to this.
They eat our installations, or start to
the
eat
ants.
our installations.
No, the ants have already decided they have some like after 3 days, the ants already decided this is my favorite work. The Golden Lion of Certosa goes to Michael Agstaller's piece, and you open the machine box, and it's just ants everywhere.
Full of ants. They love the amplifiers and stuff.
Yeah, they developed a taste for it.
Oh, but it's interesting. Sorry.
Ants everywhere.
Ants everywhere. That would be a good topic. Now, but here Certosa is so interesting because it feels kind of natural. It feels like harmonic. But it has like a very diverse history. You know, you see these little mountains over there, and they look picturesque, like from a Mannerist painting, but they're actually parts of a military complex which has been here. And over there's a bunker where they tested grenades. So the place where we are is far from being an idyllic paradise or something.
Yeah.
And that's what it made it so interesting to enter this place and to do our installations here.
Yes, and I think it also proposes an interesting structure if you compare to the general structure of the German pavilion, because on the one hand you have the Giardini venue, which is very overloaded with information. It is very compressed exhibition, and here you have this sort of freedom of walking, but there's something haunting about it in the when you walk in the nature and you hear the sounds and you feel sort of the vibration on the soil and like a little bit disoriented. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about how do you relate what is being exhibited here at the island with what is being exhibited at the Giardini, and if there's how everything came together, so to speak.
I don't know how it came together or if it is together, but the most obvious, let's say, dialogue is that the pavilion is a building, it's a vessel, it's a container, and it is stuffed with information. The air is thick. You can really see the light beams through this kind of dusty, smoky, as you say, compressed volume. And here it's nearly like a reversal of this. Where are the borders to this work or this group show? And where is the piece itself, and how far does it reach? And the whole question about sound anyway is where is it located, and where is it situated, and what's the direction to perceive it? The pavilion picks up a few of those concepts by offering a non-linear show. Basically, it's not, the way you compile the pieces, the different axes of looking up, down, around the corner and all this. It already indicates a parkour and movement.
Yes.
And you find this on the island. It really tries to redefine the pavilion also. It's not per se an investigation in the history of the pavilion. I think it's really like a room in a room or many rooms within that pavilion.
I see.
The metaphor of dust and nature, also in Yael's work, in this dome where you see this kind of the Jewish civilization forever like traveling and serendipping through space. You have this association here. What is nature? What is artificial? How do you define nature as the other, as the ever-changing and ever-growing and ever-searching? Is it something that can be fixed and cultivated, that we define as beautiful or complete? So there are many references, and some more obvious ones, that there are film elements in Erzan's work which were shot on the island, that there are like, just like really small hints, but it's complex. I mean, if you spend the more time you spend, the more you find these relationships and new associations open. The most obvious ones are, I guess, the ones I said in the question about like, how do you contain, how do you open, where is one turning into the next, transforming, and a negotiation and an investigation in space, I guess.
But some things you can't plan, and they make a connection. We had quite a long process of finding the pieces and finding the locations here, and being here. You being here in December, we all came here in January, and had another travel in February, and we were installing the pieces, and some is also like improvised, and some is like understanding the spacers and like adjusting to it. And I finished my piece, and on the next morning they came with a tractor and like we're digging in the earth like 70 centimeters deep. So before it was all grass, and I made basically an installation which was on grass with my baselines. But on this day it was earth everywhere, so it was like it changed the look and the feel quite drastically. And we had a meeting, and we were thinking what to do, and then we said like this is like being on the island is being on a place which is lifeful, where there are things happening. It has been overwritten many times. It will be overwritten many times. So let's keep the earth there. Let's do even more. And then we asked the people like, do your work, do all the places you have to do all your digging, and we adjust to it. So it's like it's a dialogue which was not like it was not a concept which was fixed in the beginning, and then we just made step A to B. It was like many layers of, also with discussions. We had meetings with Erzan and Yael and the whole team, and like thinking how to bring this together.
Yes. This deployment of nature is very interesting to me because and I think the reception that you guys were mentioning about people finding it weird that the exhibition would be here and that it would be like that. I think there is a very unsettling relation between nature and sound. That people would be able to exhibit pictographic works here, any sort of image, but with sound, it sounds unsettling of the environment. And I think both of your pieces do that a little bit. I remember when I was crossing to Jan's piece over there, I have this feeling, what is this noise again? And then I realized that it was a sort of a natural noise, and then it became clear with as it was spinning. And on your piece as well, when you're listening to these sounds that are usually not accessible to us deep within the earth, I have the feeling that this becomes a deeply unsettling image. So I'd like to hear more from you. What do you think is this? Where does this estrangement comes from a little bit? This estrangement between nature and sound that makes us feel a little bit disoriented.
That's a really interesting aspect. I think nature asks many questions, and we always have to orientate. I mean, there's still an instinct of am I safe or what's next? Even if it's mosquitoes, we always feel like there's something is happening in nature we might not like. And sound is so unbound; it is so hard to contain it and give it a specific, location and keep it there. That I feel it really plays into this where are things and where am I in relation to things? And sound in nature is unsettling, and I think more than that it destroys our romantic idea of what nature should sound like and how it should feel like. I think it's pretty much what you say. It's this kind of where is it and what comes with it and what does it do to me? Maybe a certain sound wave in nature is more harmful than a full blast of noise in a city.
Yes.
This is my conclusion after this opening.
Yes, I think so.
Which is not, because I mean all these pieces, they give you very distinct ideas about your perceptual and compositional apparatus, how you compile reality and what you find, what you think is consistent and not. And they're very subtle, but in that sense that you start realizing these kind of bands in your perception, these blind spots, you kind of panic a little bit because you realize, okay, in everyday life, I tend to not see or hear these things.
Yes. It's very good. Thank you so much. And one final question for both of you, and about the Biennale in general. I'd like to ask you if what either you have already seen and that has really made you very excited or has impressed you, or something that you're looking forward to see in the Biennale, somebody's work or a particular pavilion. I'd like to hear from you.
I really like the Brazilian pavilion. And we've been very lucky that there came a small team of the Pavilion with some indigenous people from Colombia. They came to the island 2 days ago in the nighttime and made a ritual. And it was very touching to see them talking about their lives, their history, and handing over soup and tea. It was super small. There were just 12 people here or 14 people, a very small group with a campfire, and it's really well connected to what the team did in the pavilion. I would have loved to see Caterina Barberi in the Italian pavilion. She invited me to the opening, but it was so full that I couldn't get in. So I will. You've seen it, so I will watch it.
Online.
What about you, Jan?
I like Via Garibaldi a lot. It's a great exhibition. It's like a catwalk.
Great. So thank you so much. Thank you for accepting the invitation, and yes.